Hello everyone, Marcelo is my name. I'm the niche fragrance collector, a big fan of perfumes, and I've been a big fan of perfumes since I was, well, quite young actually. Before I came across niche, had a really decent designer collection, and before coming across Dolce and Gabbana's The One, I had a lot of light, fresh, aromatic fragrances. I did an episode on Sauvage. Have a look here. You can see that aromatics was really, I had a lot of aromatic fragrances. And then all of a sudden this baby came along, and this was sensuous and warm and spicy. There was something else going on in here. Definitely a sexy fragrance. Now, if you are familiar with the Michael Edwards fragrance wheel, so The One falls under Woody Amber. This category used to be called Oriental. Recently, the industry, or a lot of people are changing it now. So if you love Woody Oriental style fragrances, then I'd love to put forward some absolute rock stars in that category. Orientals, where did they first emerge? 1925, the very first Oriental fragrance was Shalimar by Guerlain. When this first came out, it revolutionized everything. Here was a fragrance that was equal part fresh, but sensual. I mean, it did this beautiful burst of bergamot, but yet they had these spices in there, and in particular, it had the vanilla. The vanilla is what really supposedly the men would go crazy for this fragrance. It was something that was brand new and something that they had never experienced. Hence the birth of these Oriental style fragrances, and then they started to emerge into different areas. Woody Orientals can be categorized a little bit more on the masculine leaning side. The lineup that I've got before me, I'll share with you which ones are more, I guess, masculine leaning and which one are a little bit more on unisex, or even it could be a bit more feminine leaning. Actually, the truth is none of these are feminine leaning because these are all mine, but there are some in here that are definitely unisex. Let me begin with The One. This is the one that I fell in love with very early on. This changed my direction of how do I use a perfume. So perfume was always something to make me happy, to freshen up. But now all of a sudden, here I had a perfume that was about sensuality. This was definitely my evening fragrance. If I wanted to feel sexy, or if I wanted to put on my charm for my wife, use my Jedi powers, The One was my companion to help me with that. There was, and again, it's those Oriental notes that are in there, the spices. In this particular case, I know that The One has things like tobacco. I mean, I'm still getting that tobacco note coming through. There's a slight sort of suede in there. There is also some kind of fruit. I almost feel like I'm picking up like a whiskey note. In preparation for today, I was starting smelling The One, and I'm like, whoa. It's very linear. Where it starts is where the fragrance is. And also, and I don't remember, for me in my brain, I had it very, very sensual, very luxurious and sexy, whereas there's still a designer element to it. There's still an aromatic component to this particular fragrance. So if you're brand new to the niche world and you think to yourself, yes, I do love that style of fragrance, then where would I go from here? So the logical jump across is this particular fragrance called 14-Hour Dream. The company is called JUSBOX. JUSBOX is owned by brother and sister sort of duo, Chiara and Revaldo. I joined a masterclass that they were in, and they talked about their fragrance lineup. So they mentioned, which is an interesting point, they mentioned that both fragrance and music are things that bring memories back. The moment you smell something, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this, or I remember my mother. But they also said that certain songs take you back to a moment in time. So what they've done is that they've combined their love of music with their love of perfume. In this case here, so 14-Hour Dream is a tribute to Pink Floyd. There was, I think it was 1969 or 67, a huge concert in the UK or in England, in which Pink Floyd essentially, I guess, were released to the world during this festival. It was like an all-nighter. I think it was called the 14-Hour something. I'll put it here again. There's one particular note in here, which is patchouli. If I were to quickly categorize it, It starts off powdery green, and I'm going to say maybe that powdery green is the patchouli. So powdery green patchouli, but for me, it quickly then moves across to sandalwood and then a vanilla dry down. I'm not getting the normal mustiness that happens as a result of patchouli. It's warm, it's ambery, very sensual. So I guess the sensuality that I thought was here as a younger man exists here in 14 Hour Dream. And if I compare the two, this one still, so the one still has that designer component to it, that freshness that we're used to in designers. Whereas 14 Hour Dream, there's almost a milky, moorish component to it, almost to the point that you feel like you can drink this. As I mentioned, if you like the one, I would check out 14 Hour Dream. Awesome fragrance. It's one of those fragrances where it is instant love. When I first bought it, my son, it became his favorite. And on this particular occasion, he was going to an outdoor picnic, and this was the fragrance he wore. Now, as he's walking up to the people that he was meeting, they were already picking up his fragrance. Actually, one of the ladies came up to him and said, "I could smell you a meter, meters away as you were walking towards us." So awesome projection. Longevity on it is fantastic. And then, look, if you want to explore this house, JUSBOX, they have a huge collection. I'm going to say 20 plus fragrances. The bottles are pretty unique. You'll notice that it has like a vinyl record sort of style on top. JUSBOX, sensual, warm, vanilla, sandalwood style of fragrance. Wonderful in that Woody Oriental, Ambery sort of category. All right, so next one for me is Amouage. Now, what I've done is I've made this like a logical step forward. So if you're brand new to niche, this is the first place that you should walk across to. But I do recommend to you, try out Epic Man. Now, I know that a lot of people are intimidated by Amouage. Sometimes Amouage can be, or some of their fragrances are quite powerful, quite intense. And that's because of the resinoids that they use, incense and frankincense and things of that nature in the base. But I would, if you, or mind you, even if you're knee deep in niche, if you haven't got Epic Man, you need to get Epic Man. I mean, the name itself tells you exactly what kind of fragrance this is. This is powerful. There is a sense of strength with this particular fragrance. I love it for the fact that it's a beautiful balancing act between being a green and fresh, but at the same time being a masculine, strong, and has that sensuality component to it also. I know that in the heart there is geranium, and I think the geranium, which gives it a slight floral, rose kind of feel to it, but it's very herbaceous and green, so it leans more towards the aromatic. In the base, it also has Starax, which is a dry balsamic, and it has this wonderful woody floral component to it. As I said, it doesn't go into those deep resinoids that Amouage is known for. It does retain that freshness. I did a video with Carolina, and in it she says it's very piney, and I think piney is the right word, meaning that it has elements of that cedarwood component to it, that sort of that pine forest component to it, that freshness to it, but it does have that masculine base, that woody warmth or strength from that. So if I were to categorize it, it starts off spicy, and then it moves into this beautifully green freshness, and then finally it settles into these woods. I encourage you, if you love Woody Orientals, this one here is a masterpiece. It's an everyday fragrance. I mean, you could use it as an evening fragrance, you can use it as you're going out, you can use it as a day fragrance, you can use it to go to the gym. I mean, this one here is super versatile, but it states a claim. There's something about this perfume that holds its own. I find that Epic Man has awesome projection. I know that when I'm wearing it, I'm telling you, the sillage on this is enormous. It precedes me. The longevity on this is also very good. 7+ hours that I'm getting out of this particular fragrance. If you're new to niche and you're brand new to Amouage, I would start here. I know that a lot of people start at Reflection Man, but good masculine fragrance, Epic Man is the one. So the next one is HALFETI Leather. I own HALFETI. It was one of my earlier purchases. So I bought the original HALFETI, like I think it was my second or third purchase. So the original HALFETI is designated more as a female fragrance. I didn't know this when I bought it, and I just liked the smell. I thought it smelled great. not realizing that that it is, yeah, female leaning, but it works well on a man. And I've had subsequently other men sort of stepped up and say, yeah, I love Halfeti. What are you talking about? So what what Penhaligon's did is that they came out with, I guess, more masculine leaning version of it. So this is Halfeti leather. It borrows a lot from the original Halfeti, with the difference now that it has a more leathery tone, but I'm going to say it's more of a suede tone. The leather is very subtle. It's not in your face. The story of Halfeti is that it's a village in Turkey, and that the thing that, well, called Halfeti, and the thing that made it stand out unique is that there's a black rose that blooms in a certain year, and that particular rose is what goes into making the fragrance. Now, I don't know, I mean, that's the marketing line, all right? So I'm gonna come clean on this. I don't know whether that is 100% what actually happens. It's a cool story, and I like it. I find that this one here, if I categorize it quickly, it starts off beautifully floral. It goes into a leather suede-y place, and then finally in the dry down, it's like spicy ambery notes. Please know that it retains its suede component, so it doesn't just dry down to spicy amber. There are those leathery notes that are definitely coming through. The question is, if you own Halfeti, would you need to buy Halfeti leather? The short answer is no. The long answer is, I like leather fragrances. I have a wonderful leather fragrance collection. And for me, this was a nice twist on something that I already enjoyed, which is my Halfeti. So the short answer for me was yes. The long answer for you is you could buy one or the other. Both fall into that woody amber category. Both work really well. But again, the original Halfeti does have a little bit more of the floral components to it. If you like leathers, then this is definitely, now this, just so you know, male, female, comfortably, this is an easy wearing fragrance for either party. So if this is leather, I'm gonna say it's suede, all right? So I'm just gonna put it out there. Then let me show you what leather really is about. There's a fragrance by Tom Ford called Hombre leather. Now, you have to understand, in Spanish, hombre, to say es un hombre, it means that you're a man. And I guess to put it into I guess, English, you're a butch. You're strong, you're a man's man, okay? So I'm gonna say that hombre leather is Piccolino leather compared to Clive Christian's C. This is, if you want to say an hombre leather, this is the one. So again, this was one of my earlier fragrances. There is oud in here, and I did not know. I'm a sucker for leather. For me, the oud doesn't come through. So I don't know if someone else is saying the oud pops for them. For me, what really comes, but maybe it is the oud, because there is a deepness to this leather that I haven't experienced anywhere else on any other fragrance. It suckers you in. So let me give you a heads up. So when you first spray this fragrance, there is a sweet, well, it uses Mandarin in the opening. There's this sweet sort of like, hello, I'm your friend kind of note. A slight leather tone to it, and you're like, I can do this. Then it turns into this just rich, deep, very sensual, very masculine leaning leather. It's also interesting, I have a very close friend of mine, and she loves wearing this, and on her, it smells different. She wore it not long ago. Again, always in hugging and kissing, that's just our style. And I came in to give her a hug and a kiss, and I'm like, no way, you're not wearing C. And she's like, yes, I'm wearing C. It smelled completely different. On me, very masculine, very deep. Those leathers really pop. And I am gonna say then, the oud is definitely playing a part in that. The other thing too about this particular fragrance, it has phenomenal sillage. This thing will just project. It just really pushes out. I warn you, don't smell this up close. So my personal experience, I do enjoy, this is my winter fragrance. So it's not, I have tried to do it in summer, and I knew that it wasn't gonna work, but I wanted to test it just so I can sort of chalk it up and go, okay, that doesn't work. This is, as a winter fragrance, it almost emanates heat. It has this beautiful warmth to it. I walked into my daughter's house again. She was quite a distance from me. She does have I think a sensitivity to oud. She loves oud, and instantly she's like, beautiful fragrance. I love what you're wearing today. She came in because she enjoyed the scent. She came in and then breathed. So one thing that we do in our family, we breathe each other's perfume. So we smell our neckline and things of that nature. She breathed in and she reeled backwards, and she's like, too much, too much. If you're a family of breathers also, where you love to breathe in a fragrance, yeah, this one here is one to enjoy from the distance. Up close, it's pretty powerful. It's, as I said, this is, I mean, if you want to say ombre leather, then CLIVE CHRISTIAN C is the one for you. So if I were to summarize CLIVE CHRISTIAN C, for me, it starts off sweet. It has that beautiful sweet note. It does go into a leather, sort of deeper leather note, and then finally it comes in with those woody oud leather components, nice and heavy, very deep, very sensual, but very warm. As a wearable fragrance, just over winter. It's interesting to note that Christian Provenzano is the perfumer for HALFETI leather, and Christian is also the perfumer for this one. So I love that in one instance here, he's given us a leather with a much more gentle accord to it, and in this one here, he's sort of just let fly. He's just really come in strong and powerful. Gorgeous fragrance, gorgeous fragrance. CLIVE CHRISTIAN, they know how to make a beautiful perfume. If you're new to niche, do not start here. It'll overwhelm you. I definitely would start in the order that I've outlined them here. Last one, XERJOFF. Now, I've been an oud rookie from the very beginning. Oud has been a fragrance note that I have been very intimidated by. There are some, I guess it's the animalic component to the oud that has made me scared. And unfortunately, what I may have done is I may have jumped in at the wrong end of the pool and grabbed some oud fragrances that are, well, yeah, animalic in their personality. I have to say that my training wheels are off, because More Than Words is not an entry-level oud fragrance. I know it's not a, I'm a big dog style of oud fragrance, those deep Arabic sort of very intense sort of oud fragrances. But this one here, it packs a punch. Now, what's also interesting is that this on card stays very pungent, very oud-like. I'm not getting any other facets to it. Now, before I started filming, I actually sprayed this one here. I just love wearing this. This one here as my early spring into autumn or fall. I haven't worn this over summer. As my winter fragrance, just glorious. I go back to here where I thought this was sensuous and sexy and luxurious. This is all of those things. More Than Words, it's part of the Join the Club collection, and XERJOFF hasn't revealed the notes, so he's doing an Alessandro Galtieri. I like it. So it's one of those where if you like it, you like it. If you don't, cool for you. So if I were to categorize More Than Words, it starts off with this wonderful fruity note. It moves across into this rosy, powdery, sort of Oris butter style, and then finally settles into this wonderful, very sensual oud, very soft. And I'm going to say that those earlier notes are definitely is what's bringing this composition, just making it just beautifully blended together. As a going out fragrance, More Than Words. As a day-to-day fragrance, More Than Words. So my grandbabies are into perfumes. I mean, with the niche fragrance collector as their grandfather. No surprises there. Anyway, first thing they do when they come in, they call me Buelo. So in Spanish, we say abuelo, but they can't say abuelo, they say Buelo. So they say, Buelo, what's my perfume for today? And I sprayed on one of my granddaughters, More Than Words. I forgot that I had sprayed that to her, or sprayed that on her, and she went past, and I'm like, there was this trail, I'm like, Allegro, what are you wearing? I'm like, that's right, More Than Words. I said, I need to smell you, come here, sweetie. And and on her, the floral notes were definitely there. That oud is it's there, so just be aware, the oud signature is definitely in the fragrance, but this is a really soft, well-blended, very gentle, not animalic style of oud, so just glorious. There you have it. So if you love your woody ambers, bada bing, I would recommend these particular fragrances. I would start, if you're brand new to niche, start here, move your way through. If you're knee deep in niche, I would probably pick up from here. I think that Halfeti leather is also still very appealing. It's an easy entry. Even if you started from here, you could jump over to this guy here, not a problem at all. These two particular fragrances, I'm going to say, for those ones who are already in niche and enjoying the niche world, the complexity of these beautiful fragrances and the way they evolve. If you would like me to do another fragrance, so if this, I had an awesome collection of designers, so tell me what you would like me to do. I would love to move around the different categories. So if it falls inside woody amber or aromatic, I've already done an aromatic category. I probably won't do that one again. Then again, I could, because there's so many other great fragrances. But anyway, you tell me. What are the great fragrances that you like in designer that you'd like me to see if I can find some niche companions to? Thank you, everyone. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.